फिलहाल सहज इग्नू 2 तरह के कोर्सेज लाया है।
2 तरीके के? कौन कौन से?
पहला है डिप्लोमा इन एडवांस्ड कंप्यूटिंग, जिसमें मॉड्यूल 1 है बेसिक कंप्यूटर्स, मॉड्यूल 2 है ऑपरेटिंग सिस्टम MS विंडोज, मॉड्यूल 3 है वर्ड प्रोसेसिंग MS वर्ड, और मॉड्यूल 4 है स्प्रेडशीट MS एक्सेल, मॉड्यूल 5 है प्रेजेंटेशन पावर पॉइंट, मॉड्यूल 6 है डाटाबेस MS एक्सेस, मॉड्यूल 7 है प्रोग्रामिंग मेथोडोलॉजी, और मॉड्यूल 8 है इंटरव्यू एटिकेट्स।
नमस्कार। सहज और इग्नू की जानिब से यहाँ उपस्थित सभी महानुभावों का हम हृदय से अभिनंदन करते हैं, तहे दिल से इस्तकबाल करते हैं। आज वो ऐतिहासिक दिन है जब इग्नू सहज कॉमन सर्विस सेंटर्स के ज़रिए स्किल डेवलपमेंट इनिशिएटिव की ऑनलाइन डिलीवरी का लॉन्च करने जा रहा है। आज विश्व की पहली ऑनलाइन असेसमेंट टेक्नोलॉजी ETWLS यानी एजुकेशन दैट वर्क्स यानी शिक्षा जो काम आए, इसका अनावरण किया जाएगा, और साथ ही सहज की चाकरी पोर्टल के जरिए कैंडिडेट्स को एम्प्लॉयमेंट लेटर्स भी प्रदान किए जाएंगे। हमें बेहद खुशी है कि आज के इस खास दिन हमारे बीच में ऑनरेबल मिनिस्टर फॉर कम्युनिकेशंस एंड इंफॉर्मेशन टेक्नोलॉजी थिरू ए राजा मौजूद है अपनी शुभकामनाओं के साथ, अपने आशीर्वाद के साथ। वी वेलकम यू सर। हमारे बीच तशरीफ फरमा है इग्नू के वाइस चांसलर रिस्पेक्टेड प्रोफेसर VN राजशेखरन पिल्लई, Chairman Sahaj, respected Sri M. Damodaran, respected Mr. SR Rao, Additional Secretary, E-Governance, DIT, Ministry of Rural Development के Additional Secretary, respected Sri Arvind Mayaram, और respected Sri Sharda Prasad, DG, Ministry of Labour and Employment। आप सभी की गरिमामय उपस्थिति से आज के इस कार्यक्रम की शोभा बढ़ी है महानुभाव। कहते हैं कि मेघ और मेहमान बड़े भाग से पधारते हैं। मेरा अनुरोध है रिवेट इग्नू के प्रोफेसर पांडव नायक से कि कृपया मेहमानों के स्वागत में अपनी भावनाओं की अभिव्यक्ति करें और आज के इस ऐतिहासिक दिन के बारे में कुछ कहें।
Good afternoon. Thiru Raja, Honorable Minister of Communications and Information Technology, Government of India. Our respected Professor Pillai, Vice-Chancellor IGNOU. Sri Damodaran ji, a renowned action leader from the field of banking and finance sector. Respected secretaries in the Government of India, ladies and gentlemen. It gives me great pleasure to welcome you all to the collaborative function of this national launch of online delivery of the skill development programs. Speaking on behalf of RIVET now, RIVET being the popular acronym for the Regional Institute for Vocational Education and Training, let me say a few words about this innovative institution of IGNOU, which is primarily focused on wider implementation of vocational programs. For the benefit of those interested, let me begin with pointing out 2 objects as laid down in the IGNOU Act, and they are, for the university, number 1, to promote employment-oriented education, and 2, make them accessible to masses of people living in the remote rural areas. In part fulfillment of these objectives, RIVET was created by the Board of Management not less than a year ago. As we know, but working directly for the target groups in the remote areas is not that easy, given the restrictive boundary conditions which normally determine the day-to-day working of a university. But thanks to the visionary leadership of our Vice-Chancellor and the Board of Management, this rigidity could be overcome by a recommended flexibility, encouraging us to go for PPP, PPP arrangements, which are increasingly becoming national practice of late. The Educational Consultants India Limited, a Government of India PSC in the MHRD, was appointed as the project management agency to guide us through these new and ill-defined terrains of collaboration. The search thus started leading us to a tie-up with Sahaj, a private firm with a strong e-learning presence at the Gram Panchayat level. That is where we wanted to go always. Working through the common service centers rolled out to them in thousands under the National E-Governance Plan. But in view of the shortage of time, more of that you will get to know from Dr. Sabahat and others later. I shall conclude saying that today we are in a position to launch 9 programs in the soft skills sector through online delivery. Those 9 courses, I may name them: Certificate in Computer Basics, Certificate in Advanced Computing, Certificate in Job Trainer Program, Certificate in Interview Etiquette, Diploma in Advanced Computing, Certificate Program in HTML, Certificate Program in JavaScript, Certificate Program in SQL, Certificate Program in Flash. Thank you, and welcome all of you again to this promising function of the evening. Thank you very much.
थैंक यू सो मच प्रोफेसर नायक। हमारे बीच जलवा अफरोज़ हैं श्रेय सहज ई विलेज लिमिटेड के CEO डॉक्टर सबाहत अजीम साहब। मेरी आपसे दरख्वास्त है कि कृपया स्टेज पर तशरीफ़ लाएं और अपने ख्यालात का इजहार करें।
Thiru A. Raja, Honorable Minister for Communications and Information Technology, Professor Rajasekharan Pillai, Vice-Chancellor, IGNOU, Mr. M. Damodaran, our Chairman, Mr. Arvind Mayaram, Mr. Shankar Agarwal, distinguished guests and friends. We began a journey about 3 years back with a lot of difficulties. It was an impossible dream to bridge the digital divide, the rural-urban divide. And today, we have already 15,000 centers in rural India. And the most phenomenal thing is that most of these centers are already sustainable. This is a dream which had never been proved anywhere else in the world. And all telecenters have run traditionally on grant funding. This journey has not been without its difficulties, without its obstacles. But we are very honored here to have amongst us today all those people, and many of those people who have been the goodwill, the encouragement behind this journey. Beginning with Honorable Minister Raja, Thiru Raja, Mr. M. Damodaran, Mr. Sharda Prasad, Mr. Arvind Mayaram, Dr. D.K. Tyagi. All these people have been there with us in the difficult times when talking about putting up a laptop in a village was an impossible dream. With no power, no G2C services when we began. I am very honored and deeply indebted to the people who have made to this program and the people who have been with us throughout, encouraging us that we have not faltered and we are going to make it a great dream, a dream that will see India standing on its own feet as a strong nation. I have been inspired by all these people, and they have taken out their time to be here at the launch of our first product in partnership with IGNOU. IGNOU has come all the way to support us, and Professor Pillai has been very, very proactive. His guidance and his support, that anything that you all want to do in rural India, we are there with you. So we want to launch today our first program, and this is based on a technology that, to the best of our knowledge, does not exist anywhere in the world. Ravi and his team who have created this, the biggest challenge in taking education to remote areas is that you do not have that many number of capable teachers who will impart those skills. You can do e-learning, you can use technology, but how do you test that the skills have been transferred? We came up with what is the world's first online skill assessment technology, for which we have filed a patent, and we are going to test it with IGNOU on the field. This is called ETWLS. Today we will launch this. I will not speak long. Let our vision speak for itself. We will show a small short film It's a 5-minute presentation on what actually together IGNOU and we are going to do and how it will impact the lives of people in rural India. Thank you.
किताबी डेफिनेशन रट के क्या फायदा, मतलब भी समझ में आना चाहिए।
The National E-Governance Plan was announced by the This project was to be rolled out in a public-private partnership mode with the Department of Information and Technology driving it at the center. A state-designated agency in each state choosing their partners through a transparent bidding process and also monitoring the rollout of the project. SREI, a prominent non-banking financial company and infrastructure company, dreamt of a new India and put in their bid to take part in the building of this new India. The new company SREI Sahaj-IGNOU Limited was formed to seriously focus on the sector. Sahaj was selected as the designated agency for rolling out this project in 6 states of West Bengal, Bihar, Uttar Pradesh, Tamil Nadu, Odisha and Assam. Sahaj today is an entity having 65 offices, 850 employees and 15,000 plus common services centers on the ground.
Sahaj services 20 crores of India's population and has one center for every 20,000 rural citizens. Beginning the dawn of a new era, a time for change. Education, insurance, payment of utility bills, mobile telephone recharges, purchases of train and air tickets is now possible for the crores of rural citizens residing in the hinterland of these centers. All this at a price much cheaper than the cost of reaching the far-off places from where they were available till now, also creating 15,000 entrepreneurs in the process. One of the biggest bottlenecks in India's growth story is the lack of skilled manpower. In rural India, the biggest stumbling block in fighting poverty is the lack of livelihood opportunities and skill development. While there are people looking for employment in rural areas, industry is in dearth of skilled manpower. To bridge this huge gap, Sahaj and IGNOU have joined hands together last year through common service centers. However, the biggest challenge was in testing whether such skills are being transferred due to lack of sufficiently trained teachers in rural areas. As necessity is the mother of invention, Sahaj innovated a new learning methodology called Education That Works, ETWLS. In this unique educational methodology, actual skill assessment is done in an online mode. After a student has studied a topic, the environment for practice opens and the student actually does what he is supposed to have learnt. He can only move forward if he does it correctly. The unique features of this ETWLS are online skill assessment, core skill transfer, local language support, guaranteed skill transfer. After extensive field testing, ETWLS is ready for formal launch. Under this unique partnership between IGNOU, the world's biggest university, and Sahaj, India's largest rural network and rural innovations company, 1 diploma in advanced computing and 4 certificates in Java, SQL, Flash and HTML are being launched. These courses will be available across all Sahaj CSCs in the states of West Bengal, Bihar, Assam, Uttar Pradesh, Odisha and Tamil Nadu. The other features of these courses are that rural youth can pay for these in installments. They can study whenever they have time and they don't have to migrate to towns and cities for higher or vocational education. Indira Gandhi National Open University, IGNOU, was formed in the year 1985 by an Act of Parliament. It has now emerged as the largest university in the world, guided by its proactive and able management. IGNOU caters to about
हेलो, माननीय मंत्री महोदय का आगे भी कुछ कार्यक्रम है, तो उन्हें थोड़ी जल्दी है, इसलिए लेज़र शो जो है वो हम बाद में देखेंगे। अभी जो लॉन्चिंग का जिसका हम इंतज़ार कर रहे हैं, जिस मंजिल का हम इंतज़ार कर रहे हैं, उसे पूरा करने के लिए मैं डॉक्टर अजीम से गुजारिश करूंगी कि वो ये मंच संभालें, ये माइक संभालें।
Before I invite the Honorable Union Minister for Information Communication, let me just say a few words that I have known Honorable Minister for some time, and every time that I have got from him is that his heart is for the common man in the villages. In telecom and information communication, sometimes everything else, the bigger issues is always in the news, not in the news that what is to be done for the rural population, the common man. It is an absolute honor, and with all sincerity I say, it is my privilege, my honor to have him here with us today, and I would request him that he may please come on the stage and light the lamp and inaugurate this program.
Once registration done, automatically your screen will come.
The Honorable Minister will now inaugurate the Sahaj-IGNOU partnership.
Okay. Click on login, sir. Yes. You are the first customer.
Hello friends, welcome to the HTML tutorial. If you know HTML,
Thank you, sir.
Thiru Thamodaran, Professor V. N. Rajasekharan Pillai, Vice-Chancellor, IGNOU, S.R. Rao, Additional Secretary, Department of Information Technology, Dr. Aravind Mairam, Additional Secretary, Ministry of Rural Development, Thiru Sharda Prasad, DG Employment Training, Ministry of Labour and Employment, distinguished guests and friends from media. It's a pleasure for me to be present here today among all of you. The launch of this skill development initiative through common service centers will directly impact 70% of our population. The most important people in India are our people who live in villages. It is they who form the base of this country, and they are the ones for whom we have to work. Primarily because they have been left behind in the march of progress. India cannot progress without rural India's progress. To bridge the digital divide and rural-urban divide, our government launched the Common Service Center scheme as most important part of National E-Governance Plan. The dream is to take the government to the doorsteps of the people, particularly those who are living in the lowest ebb of the social system. As this was a difficult enterprise, we did it in a public-private partnership mode. Today, I am told more than 50,000 such common service centers have come on the ground with a reality. To understand the enormity of this achievement, one must understand that such an ambitious project has never been taken up anywhere else in the world at this scale. Defying the difficulties on the ground, this partnership has set a new paradigm. As there were no sustainable successful models globally, we have learned a lot in these years. Today, delegations from Africa, assisted by the European Union, are coming to see our experience on these centers in this country. We still have a long way to go, and we are committed to the dream of reaching the common man with all services at his doorsteps. Especially getting the state government to roll out multiple citizen-to-citizen service, government-to-citizen service, so that the common service centers have more offerings to people, and we can build a true e-governance framework for this country. Sahaj is the largest implementer of common service centers across 6 states in the country. They have been pioneers in this field. I commend them for their hard work. Similarly, IGNOU is taking education to all corners of India. It is, I am told, the largest university today in the country. It is therefore a great pleasure to see the efforts of IGNOU and Sahaj combined to create a new skill development initiatives to reach furthest of village in India. The country needs skills, and this scalable technology driven initiatives will be able to increase the living standards of million of our people. I am told that this ETWLS framework is the first system in the world to test skills online. In that case, the Common Service Center program of ours has not only set up the centers, but is already stimulating intellectual property creation. We are together setting up a new industry, bridging the digital divide, bridging the rural-urban divide, doing e-governance, generating livelihoods, sparking intellectual vigor in the country. I congratulate everybody for organizing it. I will also urge that all of us must put our entire dedication to this program, as this is one program which is the path to take our rural population to the real 21st century. Thank you very much.
बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद माननीय मंत्री महोदय।
To save time, we can straight away ask Mr. Pillai and then
मैं यहाँ पर बताना चाहूँगी कि माननीय मंत्री महोदय श्री ए राजा इंफॉर्मेशन टेक्नोलॉजी एजुकेशन और आईटी आधारित एजुकेशन के लिए हृदय से समर्पित हैं, ताकि स्किल्स यानी दक्षता का विकास हो सके और नॉलेज नेटवर्क यानी ज्ञान का विस्तार बढ़ सके। ई लर्निंग आपके मंत्रालय की प्रमुख प्राथमिकताओं में से एक है, जिसका मकसद और इरादा यही है कि ई लर्निंग प्रणाली और पारंपरिक क्लासरूम प्रणाली में एक सामंजस्य बन सके, जिससे कि शिक्षा का जो लाभ है उसकी पहुँच ज़्यादा से ज़्यादा बढ़े और ज़्यादा से ज़्यादा लोगों तक पहुंच सके। हमें बेहद खुशी है कि आज हमारे बीच में रिस्पेक्टेड प्रोफेसर वी राजशेखरन पिल्लई, जो कि वाइस चांसलर है इग्नू के, हमारे बीच में मौजूद हैं। आपके बारे में थोड़ा सा बताना चाहूँगी कि आप डिस्टेंस एजुकेशन काउंसिल के चेयरमैन भी हैं और अपने करियर के 37 सालों के सफ़र में आप मुख्तलिफ हायर एजुकेशन इंस्टीट्यूशंस के प्रमुख पदों पर आसीन रहे। महोदय, हमारी आपसे विनती है कि कृपया इस पावन अवसर पर अपने मन के उद्गार व्यक्त करें। मेहमानों का स्वागत हम फूलों से करना चाहते हैं। माननीय मंत्री महोदय को हम फूल भेंट करना चाहते हैं अतिथि देवो भव की परंपरा के अनुसार। माननीय मंत्री महोदय के हम तहे दिल से शुक्रगुजार हैं कि अपने व्यस्ततम शेड्यूल के बावजूद वो आज यहाँ पर हमें अपना आशीर्वाद देने के लिए पधारे। बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद। उनका आगे भी बहुत ज़रूरी कार्य है, लेकिन अपने व्यस्ततम रूटीन में से जो उन्होंने हमें वक्त दिया उसके लिए हम तहे दिल से उनके शुक्रगुजार हैं। थैंक यू सर। मैं गुजारिश करना चाहूँगी इग्नू के वाइस चांसलर रिस्पेक्टेड प्रोफेसर वी एन राजशेखरन पिल्लई से कि कृपया अपने मन के उद्गार इस मौके पर व्यक्त करें।
Mr. Damodaran and the entire team from Sahaj, Professor Pandu Nayak, my colleague in the university, members from the Department of IT, Government of India, Mr. Shankar Agarwal, other distinguished invitees, my colleagues from the university, ladies and gentlemen. First of all, let me, on behalf of the university, thank the Honorable Minister for IT, Mr. Raja, for launching this very important collaborative program between Sahaj-IGNOU and Indira Gandhi National Open University. Let me also congratulate Professor Pandu Nayak, who has been entrusted with this responsibility of coordinating the activity from the Indira Gandhi National Open University side. I am given to understand that Sahaj-IGNOU is one of the most prominent partners in the national e-governance plan of the Government of India. I appreciate their efforts in providing IT capabilities to the rural India. Indira Gandhi National Open University has been looking at all possibilities for providing knowledge and skills to the ordinary citizens in this country. the government to citizen services, or G2C services in short, which you call, should definitely be combined with education. In June 2009, the government, the President of India declared that 240,000 common service centers will be established in this country, and the much required services for the ordinary people will be provided through these common service centers. And such a scaling up is possible only through the new technologies. And the program which was launched today, online vocational education, online skill development, is definitely a step forward. And I am confident that this collaboration, of course, Sahaj has been doing this work earlier also, but this collaboration with Indira Gandhi National Open University will help the ordinary people to get the skills, and along with that skills, after due assessment and examination, they will get a university certificate. This is very important in the knowledge economy. Only 5% of the total workforce in the country has some sort of a certification, in contrast to over 90% in all developed countries. How to enhance the certified levels of workforce in the country, that is a real challenge. And by undergoing this process in quality through the well-developed program which the Sahaj has, we are confident that we will look at the programs, the implementation of the program in a highly rigorous way. We will ensure that quality and standards will be maintained, and we will also see to it that there is possibility of vertical integration of these capabilities, so that these people in the rural area who are undergoing these programs, they will get a certificate which can be at a later stage upgraded to higher levels of certification. And therefore, we consider this particular process as a process towards skilling the millions of youth, millions of people in this country through work integrated learning, as well as this program can also be integrated with various other national schemes under the NREGA and several other activities. And IT is information and technology is the only solution to enhance the levels of knowledge and skills in this country, both in quality as well as in quantity. And in this connection, I would also like to inform the guests over here that Indira Gandhi National Open University has also working with the Ministry of IT in the development of the tele-knowledge centers. A program has been supported by the Ministry of IT. We had detailed deliberations on that. It is again an internationally supported program. We have developed the content for the telecenter managers, and these telecenter managers will definitely be associated with the common service centers. This program is also almost in the final stage, and we are working with the Ministry of IT for such activities as well. Recently, the Director General of UNESCO, when she visited this university on her first official visit to India, she remarked, looking at the activities of the Indira Gandhi National Open University, that Indira Gandhi National Open University is the living embodiment of inclusive knowledge societies in a globalized world. And this world's largest university, with its flexible and innovative approaches and collaborations of this kind, we will ensure that we will work with the various plans of the government, whether it be the national e-governance plan or technology integration plans. All these activities, Indira Gandhi National Open University is very much proactively involved in such activities, whether it be our community college scheme, whether it be our telecenter management scheme, or this IT skill development. We are looking at what is the type of knowledge and skills which are required for the people in the rural parts of the country, and how this knowledge and skills can be provided there itself without interrupting them. And that is our target. For the last 25 years, this university has been showing remarkable activities in this connection, and this activity would be yet another milestone in the Indira Gandhi National Open University's activities. Let me congratulate and wish the very best for the effective implementation of this scheme. Thank you very much.
थैंक यू सो मच. मैं निवेदन करूंगी श्री SR राव और मिस्टर शंकर अग्रवाल से कि प्लीज़ मंच पे तशरीफ़ लाएं. I would like to request Mr. SR Rao and Mr. Shankar Agrawal to please come up on the stage. हमने सुनी थी एक कहानी पारस पत्थर की कि उसको छूकर पत्थर भी सोना हो जाता था. मिस्टर M. दामोदरन जो कि चेयरमैन है श्रेय सहज ई-विलेज लिमिटेड के, उनकी उपलब्धियों के मद्देनज़र ये बात अक्षरशः सही नज़र आती है. जिनके गोल्डन टच से इंस्टीट्यूशंस ट्रांसफॉर्म्ड हो जाती हैं. 1971 से प्रीमियर इंडियन एडमिनिस्ट्रेटिव सर्विस के मेंबर रहे श्री दामोदरन केंद्र और राज्य सरकारों में तथा भारत के फाइनेंशियल सेक्टर में विशिष्ट पदों की शोभा बढ़ा चुके हैं. 1992 में आपको त्रिपुरा के चीफ सेक्रेटरी के पद पर आपको जब अपॉइंट किया गया, तो इस तरह आपको स्टेट गवर्नमेंट में इस तरह की पोजीशन होल्ड करने वाले देश के यंगेस्ट ऑफिसर होने का गौरव हासिल हुआ. He has transformed UTI and ITBI. सेबी के चेयरमैन के रूप में आपकी काबिल लीडरशिप में सेबी ने सेंसेक्स को 2000 से 20,000 होते हुए देखा. ये गोल्डन टच नहीं तो और क्या है. लीडरशिप, ट्रांसफॉर्मेशन और पब्लिक सर्विस के क्षेत्र में आपको कई नामी अवार्ड से नवाजा जा चुका है. पब्लिक स्पीकिंग में रेगुलर और स्पोर्ट्स जगत के आप एविड फॉलोअर हैं. ऑल इंडिया टेनिस एसोसिएशन के आप वाइस प्रेसिडेंट हैं. बॉम्बे मैनेजमेंट एसोसिएशन के द्वारा फाइनेंस मैन ऑफ द ईयर 2004 आपको वोट किया गया. और कॉर्पोरेट ट्रांसफॉर्मेशन की लीडरशिप में आपको इंस्टीट्यूट ऑफ डायरेक्टर्स गोल्डन पीकॉक अवार्ड से भी नवाजा गया. प्रियदर्शनी नेशनल अवार्ड 2002-2004 फॉर पब्लिक सर्विस अवार्ड से सम्मानित श्री दामोदरन के नाम के साथ आज कई अवार्ड्स जुड़ चुके हैं भारतीय बिजनेस में उनकी सेवाओं के मद्देनज़र. और आपको बताते हुए हर्ष हो रहा है कि आज ही उन्हें ENY अवार्ड फॉर पब्लिक सर्विस एक्सीलेंस का अवार्ड हासिल हुआ है. मैं माननीय श्री दामोदरन से गुजारिश करूंगी कि इस ख़ास मौके पर अपने विचार व्यक्त करें, अपनी मन की भावनाओं को हमारे सामने शेयर करें, हमसे बांटें.
Respected Vice-Chancellor, senior officials from the government ministries and departments, members of the IGNOU family, members of the Sahaj family, distinguished invitees. After long years in public service, I was contemplating a peaceful retirement when Dr. Sabat Azim landed up at my house and denied me the peaceful retirement that I had contemplated. And he said, "You come from a village, you take great pride in saying that you come from a village. This is your chance to demonstrate that your heart is in the right place. This is your chance to demonstrate that you still have a role to play in rural transformation, in ensuring that people that live in India's villages are not denied what is their legitimate due in the cake of development." He reminded me that Gandhiji had said that India lives in her villages. And he also mentioned that being a villager, and being a proud villager at that, I need to ensure that India's villages do a little better than they're doing because of what is possible thanks to the application of technology. Now, that was a sales pitch I couldn't refuse. I am not ordinarily taken in by sales pitches, but young Sabahat was so persuasive that I found myself, before long, the part-time chairman of Srei Sahaj e-village. And I must confess, looking back on the time that I have spent with him and with the youthful Sahaj family, that if anything can be accomplished, this group will accomplish it. Otherwise, it would not have been possible for a small group comprising a handful of individuals, but whose total commitment is far more than I have seen in most large organizations, reach out to the world's largest university and seek a partnership that will deliver growth, that will deliver progress, that will deliver skill upgradation, and that will deliver the promise of fulfilling the distance between performance and potential as far as rural India is concerned. Only this morning I was at another function where among the awards that were given was one for the best article written on management in the last 12 months. And interestingly, the subject matter of that article was how Bharat has saved India. Because the story of the 21st century is going to be the story of how Bharat will save India, how rural India will save urban India, and how together rural India and urban India will deliver the promise of India in the large stage that the universe is. Because what rural India needs is opportunity. Rural India does not need handouts. It's been a failure of our planning process that for many years we have looked at rural India as recipients, as passive recipients of assistance that flowed from outside rural India, rather than as active, productive partners in national progress and development. Today, we must leave those thoughts behind us. Today, we must recognize that India's strength is in her villages. We must recognize that the empowerment of India's villages is what is going to deliver India's growth story. And my colleagues from the government who are sitting here are each in their own way committed. And I know this because I know all of them. They're all committed to ensuring that India's villages bridge the gap between its potential and its performance. We often talk about the demographic dividend. We talk in terms of India's age profile being right as compared to every other country, China included. And we believe that that and that alone is going to deliver for us a leadership role. But that population, that young segment of India's population, is not going to translate itself automatically into a dividend unless it is endowed with the right skill sets. And given our numbers, you need a massive effort. You need an effort that harnesses every strong player in the business, which is why Sahaj has sought to tie up with IGNOU, the world's largest university by a long shot. And not just the world's largest. We heard the Vice-Chancellor mention that in the business of inclusive growth, what IGNOU delivers is clearly ranking right up in the list, is clearly what is going to take everyone along on the journey of development. Now, for Sahaj to partner with IGNOU is clearly a great morale booster. It gives us the platform through which together we can deliver to India's promising youth living in the villages, living in remote areas, the opportunity to understand what their best skill sets are, to upgrade those skill sets, and to ensure that those skill sets are put to productive use in the national interest. That is why we are here today. I promise you that 10 years later, when you look back on this day, the significance of today will sink in. It won't sink in today. Today it might look like just another event that we are doing along with IGNOU. 10 years later, when you see the big numbers that have benefited from this program, from this unique program, from this unprecedented program, you will notice that today has been a great day, not just in our lives, but in the lives of rural India. Because it's not enough to say that there is a digital divide. We must understand that there is a digital divide, we must address the digital divide, and we must ensure that there is equal partnership of rural and urban India in the progress story, in the growth story. Unless that happens, you will see migration taking place to cities. You will see urban settlements that collapse under the weight of migrant populations, giving rise to tendencies that it is not for me to elaborate on an occasion like this. We don't want those avoidable tensions. We want people to prosper in the areas where they live. We want them to flourish in the areas where they live. We want them to produce in those areas. We want them to live meaningful lives in those areas, which is why we want to use technology to reach out to people, to tell them what is possible, to tell them what lies within their hands by taking advantage of this. Before I close, I want to express the hope, more than the hope, the expectation, that this partnership, which finds expression today, is a partnership that will grow from strength to strength, and we will deliver more programs to larger number of Indians in a manner that the world will at least applaud, if not seek to emulate. That is the hope, that is the expectation, that is the future that I personally envision for this initiative and for these two organizations. Thank you, Vice-Chancellor, sir, for giving us the privilege of working with you in this endeavor. I want to thank all the government departments and the officers present here, not just the departments, because these individuals that you see here alongside the Vice-Chancellor here on stage have each in their own way gone far beyond the call of duty, gone far beyond the normal expectations that you would have from governments, to demonstrate continuing commitment, to demonstrate leadership roles in hand-holding Sahaj in the journey towards delivering justice to rural India. Thank you very much for all what you have done. And I want to thank the audience for being here today on this momentous occasion. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Mr. Damodaran. आज हमारे बीच में वो शख्सियत मौजूद हैं जिन्होंने, जो कि सूरत में म्यूनिसिपल कमिश्नर जब वो थे तो उन्होंने जो एंटी एनक्रोचमेंट मुहिम जो चलाई थी उसकी वजह से अपने आप में वो एक मिसाल के तौर पर याद की जाती है, एक उदाहरण, एक एग्जाम्पल के तौर पर लोग कोट करते हैं. एंड ही इज़ नन अदर देन रिस्पेक्टेड श्री SR राव, एडिशनल सेक्रेटरी, E-Governance, DIT. आपके बारे में हालांकि मैं और भी बताना चाहूँगी कि 1978 बैच के गुजरात काडर के IAS अधिकारी हैं आप. श्री राव ने डिपार्टमेंट ऑफ एटॉमिक एनर्जी और ट्रांसपोर्ट डिपार्टमेंट्स में भी अपनी सेवाएं प्रदान की. रिस्पेक्टेड श्री राव ने राज्य स्तर पर सेंट्रलाइज्ड इम्प्लीमेंटेशन की पहल की और ज़रूरत में अपना अमूल्य योगदान दिया ताकि सीमलेस इंटीग्रेशन और अंतर प्रबंधन को इंश्योर किया जा सके. ही हैज़ ऑल्सो सेट सर्विस लेवल बेंचमार्क इन E-Governance इन म्यूनिसिपैलिटीज़ relevant to basic services as part of JNNURM. मैं चाहूँगी कि आप इस ख़ास मौके पर हमें अपनी शुभकामनाएं दें. माननीय श्री SR राव.
Thank you, Miss. Respected Srei Damodaran Sahab, Professor Rajasekharan Pillai, the Honorable Vice-Chancellor of IGNOU, Mr. Arvind Mayaram, the Additional Secretary, Minister of Rural Development, my good friend Mr. Shankar Agarwal, the Joint Secretary of National E-Governance, Professor Pandav Nayak, the Chief of Skill Development School, my distinguished participants and my dear friends. It's indeed an immense delight to be present amongst you today. I'm quite humbled by the presence of Mr. Damodaran, a legend in his own lifetime and a beacon of inspiration to several colleagues, junior colleagues like I in the service. We truly cherish your presence here, sir. India's success, even in troubled times of global recession, over the past 2 years is a great case study. When all the Western highly developed nations went sub-zero in their rate of growth, how come India ended up with a robust 7% rate of growth? Most economists believe this surge towards a higher growth rate essentially came from the rural areas. My good friend Shankar always keeps reminding me that until we discover the bottom of the pyramid, the great capabilities that lie within it, that is the rural India, this rate of growth is not sustainable in the long run. I, for one, truly believe, since I come from a village myself, that the capabilities and the potentiality that is residing in the rural areas is not inferior to that obtaining in the cities. In the National E-Governance Plan in which I work, so also my colleague, we measure the success not by how pervasive the technology is, how cutting edge the technology is. The outcomes are essentially measured by what has been the net benefit to the socio-economic development of the rural areas, or the productive environment of the socio-economic map or the canvas in the rural areas. It is in this context that when we went out to reach, we did an outreach program about less than a year ago, and went to 5 states and 2,400 villages. It was an eye-opener in the sense the true masters and the true beneficiaries of e-governance, we were touching them and trying to elicit their response to what e-governance plan ought to be. Before that, I need to mention e-governance plan is a very robust multi-sector program which is currently positioned about 50,000 crores of investment coming from both private and public sector. This $10 billion program is touches vast, it cuts across about 27 ministries, line departments of the center, and it touches each one of the state governments and the union territories of the nation. So when we went back to our paymasters and the ultimate beneficiaries of e-governance, one lesson that came out extremely clear is the demand for health services, education services, and skill development was the foremost. They had very limited usage for products that we imagined would make a difference, like passports, to speak of one. That being so, as just a position with what a National Knowledge Commission and the chair of Dr. Sam Pitruda, they did, they gave their report to the government. The National Knowledge Commission in their assessment of requirements of skill development clearly said, if India were to retain its premier role as a provider of IT services, then it ought to match with the nearest challenger, which is closing in very fast, which is China. The only reason today that India enjoys a head start is essentially because we are taught in English across the country, and our youngsters, both girls and boys, are extremely fluent in English as compared to Chinese. However, Chinese government has put in place a very robust 5-year program, and the current year is the 2nd year in succession, in which they plan to teach English to all their school-going children. And you and I know that Chinese government, once it gets into the act, there's nothing that is stopping them because it's a totalitarian state. It's not a democracy like ours. Once they make a decision, their rollout is extremely fast. What does it mean for India? It means very soon, India